following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the WZWA Network and our review show here of Impact Wrestling's Hard to Kill pay-per-view. I'm one of your hosts, Karlifornia, alongside this son of a bitch right here. How you doing, Juicy Boy?
Hello, Karlifornia. Fucking hell of a pay-per-view. Let's get into it, man.
Unbelievable, bro. Unbelievable. I can't believe I was so into this. I really enjoyed the last two Impact Wrestling pay-per-views, but this by far blew those other two out of the water, and that includes Bound for Glory. So going into this, was very impressed with the card, I must say. I know that they had to omit the Knockouts tag title match because I believe the Inspiration have to lock down because of being around people who had COVID. So that was omitted, but the rest of the card looked fantastic, bro. And we started the show with the first ever Knockouts Ultimate X match. When the show started, you were excited that you saw that it was all set up. You weren't actually aware that it was going to be a Knockouts Ultimate X. Going into it beforehand, what were your expectations of this matchup?
Look, I'd have to say that my expectations were pretty low. There is, unfortunately, a track record with these multi-man gimmicked matches kind of falling apart a bit whenever the women do them, which is not necessarily their fault. It's whoever's agenting it or whatever. Like, the fact of the matter is, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, the women's wrestling industry was completely different from how it is now. And a lot of, a lot of the most popular women in the industry have been wrestling for a long time. They're veterans, but, a much greater proportion of female talent in the wrestling business today has not had as much experience on the big stages as the male counterparts probably have over their careers. So just because of that, I was a little bit concerned. I remember that multi-woman ladder match from NXT not that long ago. Yeah. That looked like nobody sat there and helped them lay the thing out properly. I was worried that we were going to see that. Fortunately, though, we got an A- Ultimate X women's match here. The spots were creative and fresh. The timing was excellent. The pace was frenetic and intense. Like, the rotation of different talents getting their spots to shine in the ring was amazing. Incredible sit-out spinebuster from the Ultimate X apparatus by Jordynne Grace to Tasha Steelz. Jordynne Grace took a number of impressive bumps off of the Ultimate X thing, which they really stuck out to me. I think she might have even been my MVP performer for this match, her being Jordynne Grace. But all of the women in this match absolutely fucking knocked it out of the park. Even Jessica Havoc, when she came in and ran interference and did her couple of spots on behalf of Rosemary. Every single thing that they attempted in this match went off without a hitch, and it's getting a DJ recommendation because I can't fucking do it justice, even with how verbose and overly talkative I am. Check it out. It's worth it.
Yeah, man, I was thoroughly impressed. Not at one stage of this matchup was I taken out of it and realizing that they're running through spots. That's crazy considering that there are men, again, picking on AEW, where I watch a match like that and you can tell that this has all been put together. These ladies really did a great job with the way that they pre-planned things. And maybe if something didn't quite come off perfectly, like there was a little spot with Chelsea Green and I think Jordynne and maybe Tasha Steelz, which was a very creative spot, which ended in, I guess, like a Code Red type thing. Even so, man, props to them for coming up with something original they hadn't seen before, because that's just, at this point in professional wrestling, you've almost seen everything. So shout out to all these ladies: Chelsea Green, Tasha Steelz, Lady Frost, that's who Salvatore M is a simp for. Jordynne
Alisha
Grace,
especially, man.
Alisha, yeah, she was a late inclusion in this match, and she did a great job. And of course, Rosemary. So these 6 ladies did a fantastic job. They were just fucking going for it, bro. They were going for it.
It was firing on all cylinders, man. It was all happening. Like it was lightning in a bottle.
That's it. The only thing though, and I'm going to let you take the floor for this one, and we will mention it more as the show review goes along, the camera work.
Yeah, I mean, first of all,
expecting an explosion here, bro. An explosion of anger from you right now.
Dude, don't do that. You know, don't try to direct me, produce me into doing one of my rants. It's not authentic if I just do it on command.
It's coming.
But okay, I noticed this especially in the Ultimate X match. It felt like they only had fucking 2 cameras that were set up and ready to go that they were cutting between. They kept on cutting weirdly to this huge, the big wide shot angle, but then they were cutting to it at a time when several noteworthy spots were happening on the outside. And because it was at this big wide angle of the ring, you're only sort of seeing on the peripherals of the frame these big spots that are happening, such as Tasha Steelz being slammed really hard into fucking off of the ring apron into the 2 ladies that were waiting down below. Brutal spot. It looked like she landed really hard on the ground, but we wouldn't know that because the camera didn't fucking catch it. And, they kept on cutting between cameras several times, and the camera at ringside would constantly be shaking around, not be in fucking proper position. There was just so many big moments, big spots throughout this pay-per-view, but especially in the Ultimate X match, because it's a big, flashy type of match, where I just thought to myself, in WWE, they'd have caught that. They wouldn't have missed that in WWE. You've got these women. I mean, you always risk your life when you go out for a match, but you've got these women that are doing a match that is a high level of complexity, a high level of danger, a high possibility that there's going to be an injury of some degree, and a very, very low margin of error. And you've got the fucking camera guys on the outside acting like it's still the pre-show, like they're still fiddling with it, trying to get it in position and stuff. I don't want to see somebody dive over the ropes and immediately out of the camera shot. I want to see what they're actually diving at, who they're diving at, the way that they land, the impact of it. And then it's several times, big things would happen. Okay, the biggest, most egregious example of this was the fucking huge sit-out spine buster from Jordynne Grace to Sasha Steelz. That to me was the highlight spot for me of this match. Let me lay it out for the audience. I know I've given my overall thoughts, but let me lay this spot out in relation to the production here. You got Jordynne Grace hanging up, suspending herself on the Ultimate X cable, trying to crawl along, monkey bar her way along, trying to get to that Ultimate X. You had Tasha Steelz, who would later end up being, would come down to her and Jordynne Grace again at the end. So they were signposting that earlier on. You had Tasha Steelz and Jordynne Grace both hanging off of the Ultimate X apparatus. They're kind of kicking back and forth, trying to jockey for position, knock the other one off of the thing. At a certain point, Jordynne Grace uses her tremendous leg strength, wraps her legs around Tasha Steelz' waist and bottom. Tasha Steelz, conversely, tries to wrap her legs around Jordynne Grace so that Jordynne Grace can't drop her. And Jordynne Grace muscles her down. That position that they'd ended up in, then once Jordynne Grace let go of the Ultimate X apparatus, they fell in the position of a sit-out spinebuster / sky-high power bomb. Incredible fucking move. But guess what? They fucking dropped down, and then the camera fucking missed it. There was no pan that followed it down, no cut to a ringside camera so that you could see them falling from underneath. Nothing like that. The commentators go crazy. The audience goes crazy. We're trying to go crazy and have a pop moment here at home while we're watching the show. And we didn't get a fucking good visual of the spot. So now, even though it's exciting and it's fucking awesome and shit like that, we don't really get to be in the moment where we're really excited that we've just seen it. Because we got to wait fucking 45 seconds for the truck to fucking pull up a good angle of the camera, camera angle of the spot, so we can actually fucking see it. And if there was a camera that was filming it from that good, decent angle that looked good, then why the fuck didn't they cut to it when it was actually fucking happening? Where are the fucking producers or the agents standing in the fucking truck with David Sahadi telling him, oh, dude, they're about to drop down off of there. Make sure you cut to camera 6, which is already positioned looking out up him. Why the fuck aren't they thinking about that shit? This was an amazing pay-per-view from what I believe is probably one of the strongest products in North America, the best kept secret in professional wrestling right now. But they've got shit like that. If someone hadn't seen TNA/Impact in like 10 years and they're coming back in, they're giving it a chance because they've heard things, then they turn on this fucking pay-per-view and it looks like a fucking local indie guy with a fucking cheap $200 camcorder shaking around like he has fucking the early stages of Parkinson's disease, not able to fucking center a shot so that the incredible, dangerous, scintillating things that these women are trying to pull off on live fucking broadcast can actually get captured so that the audience at home can appreciate what hard work and the level of danger that was going into it. These are the kind of things that are going to turn those fans away that are considering giving Impact a chance. And people at home may think that I'm getting too pissed off of it. But it's like you're trying to fucking get into a match. You think that you're watching an A-grade match. You know, I gave it an A-. And then you're just constantly being distracted by the fact that the camera work is not up to snuff. I don't know who they hired, but they need to fix that shit.
I got what I wanted in the end. Bro, when Moose flew off the top rope through that table and he went out of camera shot, I was fucking livid. Oh. I was like, you got to be kidding me, bro. That was such a big bump. And I couldn't be within that whole moment because I didn't get to see it complete. And then I had to wait for an instant replay. Anyway, let's get away from it, bro.
Yeah.
I'll finish off what I've got to say. Yes, I was very impressed with Jordynne.
We're still on that one.
This is the first time I've ever seen her perform. Very impressed with her. Yeah. Impressed with her body too. She's jacked, man. Yeah, she's and Lady so Frost fit. Is the same. Lady Frost That's is the so same. Fit. She's been really working on her body, man. So yeah. Props to them.
Amazing conditioning.
Excuse me. I don't know. I always assume like someone like Chelsea Green, who's I guess maybe the biggest name in the match, would go over. But I was pleasantly surprised at the end there where it came down to her and Tasha Steelz. And Tasha Steelz gets the victory. I like the spot at the end there where they were both hands on the Ultimate X symbol. And I guess Tasha had a better hold of it than Chelsea did. And she drops to the mat. She wins the match. Cracking fucking match, bro. What a fucking way to start the show. Yeah. What a fucking way to start the show. This is what I'm talking about, bro. And I've got a big fucking comment to make later on. Coming up next, though, X Division Championship match. We have been very impressed with Trey Miguel and Steve Maclin from our reviews of Turning Point and Bound for Glory in those multi-man X Division matches. Now we finally get to see these two go one-on-one. Going into this match, Maclin has not been pinned or been made to submit in Impact Wrestling yet. The whole story is that Trey Miguel was getting pinfall victories over other people in the match and not Steve Maclin. So this is the last opportunity for Maclin when Trey Miguel is the X Division champion. I'll get through my notes very quickly here. Very impressed with Steve Maclin. Have been since day one. Both of these guys, to be perfectly honest with you, very impressed with both of them. Maclin is snug as fuck, bro. He is stiff, but he is safe. But the one spot of the match that had me rocked, which probably had Maclin rocked, was when he fell off that top rope with Miguel. Oh, sorry, Miguel. Yeah, they went off the top rope and he just fucking smacked the back of his head, not only on the ground, but then on the guardrail. They got me on one occasion where I thought that there was going to be a finish. So they got me. I was invested. Maclin's selling was terrific selling. I haven't given a review where I'm this pumped up with my notes before. Like, I am pumped for what these two did out there. Miguel finally beats Maclin. It's Maclin's first loss. Huge moment for Trey Miguel there. He's really solidified himself now as X Division champion, and it's good to see a long title reign for that belt, because I remember back in the day that thing hot potatoed all the time. So good to see that the X Division is still killing it in 2022. Your turn, bro. Hell of a match here. X Division title.
It was absolutely incredible. Here's the thing. These guys have now faced each other in like 3 pay-per-view matches of different configurations, and I'm still not bored of the feud. I still think it has heat. I still think it has legs. I want to see Steve Maclin be pissed off and trying to get revenge on fucking Trey Miguel. Highlights for me, the dive to the outside where he smacks his head in the guardrail. Crazy. The fucking spear tackle through the ropes while Trey Miguel is hanging upside down with his legs trapped between the bottom and top ropes. Incredible impact. The fucking front drop kick on the entrance ramp, the suplex on the floor, the physicality of Steve Maclin. I mean, everything that he does, he lays it in and you're like, oh, this guy's actually really a prick. Like when you watch him work, you genuinely just get the feeling that this guy is a cunt. And that it's just like, he never, the way that he portrays the character, he's never pleased with himself or happy about what's going on. He always looks pissed off, angry, bitter, cruel. You know, there's always that malevolence behind everything that he does. But at the same time, he has a way with his selling of looking vulnerable, but not weak. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have to no-sell everything or act like things don't hurt, you know. Things do hurt him. He is vulnerable. He does have weak spots. We saw Trey Miguel finally be able to exploit those weak spots and use his speed to finally put down Maclin for a 3 count with that Meteora at the end. Amazing story that was told. Incredible spots. 2nd straight match in a row. DJ recommendation. Check it out. 2nd straight match in a row that I'm giving an A-, man. Very impressed and just want to see more. Like, it left me wanting more.
Absolutely, bro. And it's that little bit of storytelling right there. I think Impact, you were right. The best kept secret going in wrestling right now. These guys should be in a massive fucking arena as far as I'm concerned. I can't believe I am fucking selling it this hard. I never really give a shit about wrestling on this level. And, you know, the story that's been told, Trey Miguel could not beat Maclin in those matches, but by this point now, it's been going for several months. Wow, who would have fucking thought, bro, that you could have a fucking storyline that keeps going to this length? By this point now, he's finally figured out how to fucking get there and the weak spots and finally get there. That's storytelling right there.
Yeah.
Fucking pumped, bro. Anyway, talking about getting fucking pumped, I never thought I'd give a flying fuck about a pure rules match. I never thought I'd ever really get into that. We saw one at Final Battle last year. One of the first ones I've ever seen. I've seen some back in the day. It was all right, but not really my taste. But this one right here, they totally got me, bro. Before I throw it over to you to give your analysis, just wanted to throw it out there. It was great that they had the Ring of Honor ring announcer and the commentator on hand. I like those little bits of, you know, it's important that they would do something like that instead of just having a title match.
Little details.
Obviously, it's a foregone conclusion, but little details like that, it's important. Yeah. You know, you do a WCW match on WWE Raw when they've been bought out. You want Tony Schiavone there. You want fucking Dave Penza there. Instead, what did we get? We got fucking Arn Anderson and Scott Hudson. Scott Hudson's amazing, but he's not Tony Schiavone. And I believe Stacy Keibler was on ring announcing duties for that. So, you know, that pissed me off, but they did the right thing here. Anyway, it's a foregone conclusion. But what did you think of Mr. Gresham taking on Mr. Sabin?
Dude, I've been a huge fan of Jonathan Gresham for years now, going back to his days as Osiris in Chikara, when he had like an ancient Egyptian gimmick. And then he transitioned out of that, started turning more into the type of wrestler that you see now. And obviously you see the octopus persona is the final form of Jonathan Gresham. 15 years in as a grizzled veteran of being one of the best, smoothest, cleanest, high impact, mat-based technicians in the world of professional wrestling. We saw that culminate in the match against Jay Lethal at Final Battle. This, as a sequel to that match, was incredible. We're both big fans of Chris Sabin. I am, especially going back to the Motor City Machine Guns. wasn't really sure how I felt about the way Chris Sabin was used at the previous pay-per-view. But right here, he was back to doing what I love him for. The wrestling, the counters in this were fast and furious. There was not really the long kind of periods where one person was in control. It was like, back and forth, tit for tat. This was the definition of a chess match, They creatively and very efficiently used the limited rope breaks that they had to help tell a story of like, if he needed to use one of these rope breaks, he only has 3. He must have been desperate. It must have been in dire straits if he needed to use one. Loved that. The drama and the tension just kept getting ratcheted up. Eventually, we get to the end where they have no more rope breaks and stuff left. But the beautiful thing was they didn't resort to quite a common pure title finish, which is what they'd often do is both competitors would use up all the rope breaks, and then the match would end because one of the people can't grab the ropes or can't rope break to kick out. So they end up losing the match. They didn't do that here. They used the rope breaks, but that did not end up playing into the finish. It continued to be a fast and furious, high-octane chess match. It looked at various points as though Chris Sabin might actually win the match. He is the more long-standing veteran of the two. He's been working for longer. He's in tremendous shape. I thought, okay, maybe they just gave it to Jonathan Gresham at Final Battle as like a thank you for your service, but maybe they're not going to keep it on him. That's how good these two were at sucking me in to the struggle that they were trying to portray. And I mean, you can go into more detail about it if you want in your analysis, but I mean, I think you'll agree with me. The sequence at the end, one of the best finishing sequences to a match in a long time that I've seen. It ends up in an exchange of Mahi straw cradles, and then the finish. My favorite part of the match was the finish, and I love that. Makes it even more impressive because this was a great match. Gresham kicks out of a Mahi straw cradle, rolls through, applies his own Mahi straw cradle on Chris Sabin. Sabin's obviously used to being Mahi straw cradled and kicking out of it. Before he gets an opportunity to kick out of that cradle, though, Jonathan Gresham shifts his weight. So he's now sitting on top of the back of Sabin's legs, and does a tremendous bridge. So now he's turned the Mahi straw cradle into the final position of a Pat O'Connor roll. He's kind of combined those two different types of pinfalls into a completely new transitioned pin. The Mahi straw into the Pat O'Connor bridge. Never seen that before. Incredible. Perfectly fitting with the pure weight title rules. Once again, DJ recommendation. Once again, A-. It may seem like I'm laying the love on thick, but I can't go against what I feel. And the fact of the matter is the first few matches of this show were firing on all cylinders.
Definitely, bro. Definitely. Again, as I said, not really into wrestling like this usually, but they got me invested, man. Gresham is so precise with every little thing he does. The story being told was fantastic, and especially when it started getting to the point with the rope breaks, him literally like grabbing Sabin's hand to help him get to the rope so he loses one of those rope breaks. And you're right, like wasn't implemented within the finish of the matchup, but it's realistic that there would be times where the rope breaks, they're a part of the story, but they're not the ultimate part of the story at the end. So it's realistic that would happen from time to time. It wouldn't happen every single time because that's unrealistic. Great stuff with the false finish with the cradle shot, which we both commented was a fantastic finishing move. And the way that Gresham sold that was fantastic. But as you said, and I won't go into as much detail, but the ferocious back and forth for the finish after the chess match, the slow fucking build where they're just going after different joints and locking in different submission holds and all that. Just back and forth, no punches to the face, elbows, all that stuff. They were just jockeying for position. But then you get this ferocious back and forth of the Mahe stroll cradles. And then, of course, just the way that he ended up getting that finish with the bridge was fan-fucking-tastic. Stoked. 3 in a row here, bro. 3 A+ or A rating kind of matches to start off the show. And, bro, you think at some point there's going to be a bit of a dip in proceedings. How can you keep building from there when you've had all of these matchups that are just firing on all cylinders, and the finishes to the matches are all fucking good? Hate to keep bringing it up, but all the finishes at AEW Full Gear last year were fucking horrible except for the MJF Darby Allin match. This show, every finish was great. They got the right people behind the scenes. They've got the right creative team together. It's guys that are experienced. It's guys that know how to fucking put a show together, stick with storylines as the fucking months wear on, and not rip up the script every time it's fucking time for another edition of Impact Wrestling. They keep going with the stories. And even though I haven't been watching the fucking weekly shows, hey, man, I'm fucking invested in Miguel versus Maclin. I'm invested in that because I know what's been happening the last few months. They prolong the story and make the story fucking mean something by the time we get to our conclusion. Speaking of a story, it's the next matchup that I'm bringing up right now. Jonah and Josh Alexander. We saw what happened at Turning Point. We've seen what happened to Josh Alexander at Bound for Glory. It's being implemented in his character development as the months are wearing on. This is what it's all about, motherfucker. This is what wrestling and storytelling on television and pay-per-view is all about. Things happen to people that affect them, and then going forward, it changes them as a person. That's how you do character development.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great point, Carl. It reminds me of something that I remember seeing. Like, I watched this lecture that Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the creators and writers of South Park, that they once gave at a university. And it was some of the most valuable advice that I, as someone that enjoys writing and all that creative sort of stuff, had ever heard. And what they said was, a lot of times when people write stories, they fall into the trap of John goes to the shop, and then he gets the paper, and then he goes and has a coffee, and then he goes and gets his car washed. Trey Parker and Matt Stone said, instead of saying something happens and then something else happens, it's something happens, but then something else happens that completely changes the dynamic of the story. Professional wrestling angles, storylines, feuds, exactly the same principle. Impact Wrestling, just as you said, implementing that idea perfectly. You think that Josh Alexander has just earned the respect of his friends and peers in front of his wife and kids, beating a legend, a Hall of Famer like Christian, shaking Christian's hand. He's finally broken through that glass ceiling of being a weekend warrior with the day job, and now he's a full-fledged professional wrestler, a star in the wrestling industry. He's now a peer of a guy like Christian. He beat him for the title. Guess what? But then Jonah showed up because Jonah's just been kicked out of NXT, and he's pissed off about that. And he's decided that he doesn't like this feel-good moment for Josh Alexander. So he goes out there, fucking busts fucking Josh Alexander's ribs, makes him cough up blood. That leads us fucking here. That is fucking storytelling, and that is how you put heat on a match, just like this one had.
Definitely, bro. Definitely.
And I know that I went, a little bit into the weeds there just with that pre-match description there, but it's important people at home understand just how much mileage you can get just by putting thought into the progression of these feuds. And
this is why we are so hard on AEW, bro, because they could do stuff like this if they had the right people writing the show. This is the difference between them and Impact. Unfortunately, Impact don't have a billionaire behind it.
Yeah.
But that's the difference. These guys know storytelling, bro. And if it weren't for Alexander getting screwed at Bound for Glory by Moose, and then Jonah at Turning Point fucking destroying the shit out of him, maybe the edge that he got because of how angry all of this has made him is what maybe led Josh Alexander to being able to actually beat Jonah in his Impact pay-per-view debut.
And
geez, whose turn is it to start this off? I think it's my turn too.
I don't even think I actually talked about the match.
I don't think I've talked about the match yet either. We
Right,
haven't even got there yet. We haven't even got there yet. We're just so impressed with how Impact Wrestling have just continued stories and kept that character development going. Anyway, that was the first night. They know how to prolong the feud till the right time for the first showdown or a feud ender for other matches. They know how to fucking pace themselves to get to those conclusions. And I'm sure there's going to be more between these two going forward. This was a physical war. Alexander really showed me something. His selling made it real. It made it feel real. You forgot about the fact that this was a predetermined wrestling match. When he hit that powerbomb on Jonah, I was like, fuck, man. Like, this was a fucking hell of a battle. I really thought Jonah was going to win, but they got Josh back over for a victory here. I'm sure Jonah will see another day in the sun at some point soon, because how can you deny a guy that wide and that big?
I mean, it's like if you're fucking, it's like a cross between fucking Umaga and fucking, like what was, who did I have? Yeah. He like fucking Jonah is like a fucking cross between Umaga, who we know was an amazing worker, you know, a cross between fucking dude, I keep blanking on the second guy. I just thought of it. It was hilarious. It was fucking a great fucking comparison. Fucking shit. Fucking I hate that shit. Anyway, Jonah's just amazing. He's just fucking I'm really that's what it was. Umaga and Bam Bam Bigelow. If you stuck those fucking two performers together and updated them a bit for the modern era, you get fucking Jonah. There we go. We got there in the end.
So anyway, I didn't have anything else really to say other than, you know, Alexander winning the match. I was, again, surprised, but pleasantly surprised, because, hey, isn't that nice, bro? Isn't that nice when you go into this, it's his pay-per-view debut, so surely he's going to win the match. No, they went the other way. What you're expecting didn't happen. Not fucking hard, AEW. You know, you bring in Adam Cole, of course, in his first match against Kazarian, and he's going to fucking win. Imagine he slipped on a banana peel in his debut. It might have been something a little bit different for fucking once. Instead, all the time, every match you fucking have on your shows, we know who's winning going in. We know who's going to a final for a full fucking tournament before the first match has even begun.
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
Your turn to talk about Jonah and Josh Alexander.
Not much to add. I love the fact that Jonah continued to work on Josh Alexander's ribs. Jonah's facial expressions and vocalizations when selling were incredible. He really sold the devastation and the prowess of Josh Alexander's submission game in the ring. They basically told the story of Jonah trying to re-aggravate the rib injury of Josh Alexander, and Josh Alexander trying to chop the redwood down and trying to stretch the big man out, trying to get the submission. It was fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and give it a B+. I thought it was incredible. I agree with you that Josh Alexander against Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, Chad Gable, fucking Chavo Guerrero, fucking Randy Orton, fucking, Mick Foley, Triple H, any of those guys against Josh Alexander would be an incredible match. And I think that's a testament to just how good Josh Alexander has become. But I also want to point out that, win or lose, Jonah is a star for Impact Wrestling. And they need to start prioritizing him as a top 4 or 5 contender on the roster. Amazing match. Can't wait to see once again where this feud goes to next.
Excellent, bro. And this is the note that I wrote down. I haven't felt this way about wrestling in a long time. Because, I really loved All Out last year. I thought that was the pay-per-view of the year, but the follow-up was always it was disappointing. Don't think that they've done, I think they've just done a disservice to their own product since then. Sorry to keep making the comparisons to AEW, but that's what I watched the most of last year. This show, I couldn't wait to see what was going to happen next. When things happened, I thought to myself, wow, I actually kind of want to see what happens on Impact Wrestling this week on the actual TV show.
We won't go and see, but we kind of want to.
I'm this close to wanting to see the show. You know, maybe not review it, just to watch it. I haven't felt that in a long time. Anyway, moving forward, we get to the hardcore war between Heath, Rhino, Eddie Edwards, Willie, Mack, Rich Swann against the Good Brothers and Violent by Design. This is kind of like a War Games-esque style matchup, but it's a hardcore war instead. Bro, take it away. What did you think of this one right here?
Dude, so much stuff ended up happening in this match that I can't even remember all the specific spots. So it's getting a DJ recommendation. Go out of your way to check this one out once again. This was, for me, the late bloomer of the show. It started out, we started to realize, okay, this isn't going to be a crazy high spot type hardcore match like Shane Taylor versus Kenny King from ROH Final Battle was. This is going to be more of a I Quit match between Roddy Piper and Greg the Hammer Valentine, where it's about brutality and pain, and it's just going to be a fight. And then as they went along, they're having this really visceral, really intense brawl, and then every now and again, we get an exciting spot that kind of, jolts the crowd with some electricity, working towards the end, which ended up having fucking an amazing finish. Like, I was a huge fan of this match as well. I was so into the match that a lot of the biggest spots are just all jumbled up for me. I'll
cover that, bro. It's all right. I've written it down. So
So I really love this match. I'm going to give this match an A- again. I like the fact that this match ended up exceeding my expectations, but at the same time, I didn't feel like there was too much hardcore in this match or on this show. I felt like the way that everything was paced and arranged was once again pitch perfect. Kudos to the talent involved and to the people backstage producing the match. This was an example of a very well done multi-man match.
Definitely, bro. Like when we watched Full Gear, how fucking burned out were we within the first few matches? They just went way overboard with so much shit. Less is more, and a lot of these matches did have weapons and such. A lot of these matches didn't have any, they had no disqualification, but that didn't really matter because it wasn't overkill. It wasn't over the top. So this again, well done, Impact Wrestling. This feud with Violent by Design and Heath and Rhino has been going since before Bound for Glory. So again, we've got long-term storytelling taking place here. The two spots that I just loved the most was Eric Young hitting that fucking pile driver off the ring apron through the table. Amazing. Joe Doring with the Death Valley driver into the barbed wire board on Rich Swann. Rich Swann selling. The screaming was fantastic stuff. Was good. And then, of course, what a great finish. Rhino hits the gore and Heath gets the pinfall. This is every big show needs a massive hardcore match as far as I'm concerned. And Hard to Kill felt like almost like a WrestleMania.
It did, man.
Don't you feel?
Dude, it kept feeling like, I'll admit, it wasn't exactly like I was fucking chomping at the bit all week to watch this fucking show. I mean, we have jobs, we have other projects for the network that we have to worry about, but I knew that we were going to be watching this show today. And then to end up kind of just feeling, not in a negative mood about the show going in, but just kind of, I could take it or leave it. If I didn't have to watch the show for this channel, I might not have watched it. The fact that when we did sit down and watch it, I ended up just being like, I just can't wait for the next match. Like, I'm excited. It just kept on getting better as it went along, not outstaying its welcome, as so many shows do, especially shows like WWE Day One. That was like pulling teeth until we got to the main event. This was like, when you got to the main event, you're a little bit disappointed that it's over.
I get you, bro. And for context, everybody, last night I went over Jooseyboy's house and a bunch of the boys were all there and we got massively drunk. and we were hungover today. So the fact that I was so excited after this pay-per-view was over that I went back to the bottle shop, got myself some beers for this review because I was so excited. I can't believe I feel like fucking having a drink right now, but this is what it's made me feel, bro, and I'm fucking jacked up about it.
That's what wrestling's meant to be all about, bro. It's a little something to get excited about.
That's it, bro. And one thing that we have not mentioned from this matchup was after the match, bro. After the match, Ring of Honor fucking invade the ring. The OGK, PCO, and Vincent from Ring of Honor.
Maria, of course.
And Maria, of course. Can't forget Maria. They all got out there. They fucking laid waste to the baby faces. I love afterwards Scott D'Amore being like, this wasn't a part of the show. This wasn't on my format. I love that, man. This was the moment that made me think, fuck, I really want to see what happens next. Can somebody finally do an invasion angle that fucking works and benefits both companies? You know, I really hope that this goes somewhere really sweet. Unlike the AEW Impact Wrestling bullshit from last year. Just fucking disappointed the fuck out of me.
Tony, take your fucking paid ads. Take your fucking paid ads, Tony, and stick them up your ass.
Anyway, what a great little moment there. You know, seeing PCO fucking getting there as well. I didn't expect him. Like when the OGK and Vincent were out there, I was like, okay, that's cool. But then PCO comes out, I'm like, here we fucking go. Now we're cooking with gas.
Yeah, man, anyway, I'm a huge PCO fan.
Let's see where it goes. Hopefully it goes somewhere really good. Moving forward, bro, it's time to get to the Impact World Championship match, triple threat match. Moose defending the belt against Mack Cardona and W. Morrissey, who I said was the most improved performer of last year. Bro, these last two matches, I didn't even write any notes because I was so into what was going on that I didn't even have time to think about writing anything down. But long story short, great fucking match. Few issues with the cameraman, obviously, as we mentioned. But these guys, again, went balls to the wall. The story being told again with Chelsea Green being involved. The shit that happened in the last few weeks where she got hit in the head with a chair by her partner. And then that story being implemented in what became the finish of this matchup. Again, fucking paying respect to stuff that's already happened and utilizing that within the psychology of the match. That's what it's all about, motherfucker. Yeah. So these three fucking killed it, man. Very impressed. I was hoping Moose was going to retain. I want him to keep that belt for a bit longer. But props to the guys, man. Like, I know, like, I don't really see Matt Cardona as a main event guy just because I've got the Zack Ryder thing stuck in my head still. But he's really improved. He's done a great job in the last year. He's made some noise on the indie scene. So good for him. Good for Morrissey, who's in the best shape of his life and has just been killing it. As a character, I'm really into him, and of course, Moose is like fucking that. He will one day be box office. I'm telling you right now. It's your turn, bro. What did you think of the World Championship matchup for the Impact World Title?
Well, actually, what I think is that we need to pause so I can get another beer, and then I'll tell you what I think of the World Title.
Okay,
match.
All right. I'll pause right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right. Bro. Now we're back. Time to talk about the World Championship match. Moose, Cardona, Morrissey, Impact hard to kill.
Yeah, fucking oath, cunt. This was the match I was most excited for seeing when you first sent me the card. Obviously, I've made no secret what a huge fan I am of Moose. I'm a big fan of Matt Cardona, but as you said, like, I also don't really see him as a main event talent. However, given the personal issues that involved Chelsea Green leading into this and stuff, I felt like he rose to the occasion of this very big, very critical match. And I really loved his selling and Chelsea Green's work as well throughout this whole thing. Both of them did amazing. Moose did fucking amazing, just like the impact of the moves that he did, the athleticism, the dives that he can do. His agility and speed and explosiveness. I haven't seen a football player turned wrestler that is as athletically gifted in the ring since Monty Brown. Like, you know, Monty Brown from TNA. You know, I'm making the comparison, and you know, it goes far beyond the fact that they both have athletic backgrounds as performers and they're both big guys. It's just this, you know, and Bobby Lashley, Jonah, like there seems to just be a trend with big guys in the wrestling business today. You know, Brock Lesnar as well is another huge example of this, that they just have this level of explosiveness, this ability to kind of turn the gas on when it's time to do something impressive or complex or agile. And I think Moose is one of the most underrated, if not the most underrated, big men in the industry. And then, of course, don't think I've forgotten about him. You had W. Morrissey on one of the best runs of his career, in the best shape of his career, holding this match together with his heel work, man. He was the glue that was holding this thing together as a triple threat. You know, you had this intense personal issue going on between Moose and Matt Cardona relating to Chelsea Green. But then you've got W. Morrissey, who's like, I'm also in this match, and this fucking match is going to be all about me. This is going to be my moment to shine. This is going to be my opportunity to stake my own claim. And stake his own claim, he certainly did. I started getting worried throughout this match that Matt Cardona was going to win. Despite the fact that I really enjoyed his performance, I still don't see him as a main event performer. I will not see him as a main event performer until he basically ditches the New Jersey boy party type gimmick. It's a mid-card Intercontinental United States champion level gimmick. It is not the type of way that a world champion pro wrestler conducts himself. So as good as he is and as improved as he is, there's still not going to be any change in my perception of him going forward. Moose and W. Morrissey, on the other hand, look like world champions. They look like stars. They look like box office. I would love to see a singles match between Moose and W. Morrissey coming out of this. I am super stoked that Moose retained the title again and that they continue to build this dominant run for Moose as world champion, the Brock Lesnar of Impact Wrestling. And that's not to diminish Moose. That comparison is meant as a sign of respect towards Moose, because you don't get many better athletes in the history of any sport than Brock Lesnar. And for me, Moose carries that cachet of feeling like a big deal every time I see him out there. I'm giving this match a B+. I thought it was amazing. It wasn't quite to the level of some of the other matches I rated grade A. However, still an amazing match. And I really enjoyed it.
Very good, bro. Very, very fucking good. As far as I'm concerned, I hate to keep picking on him, but as far as I'm concerned, Moose comes across more like a real world champion than Hangman Page. I really like Hangman Page too, but I don't think he's being given the content necessary to be
it's not his
looked
fault.
upon like he's, you know, in the same league as a Moose, a Roman Reigns, a Brock Lesnar. It's just not there yet. Doesn't matter if he beat Bryan Danielson. The content is not there for him. But anyway, so I'm saying right there, you know, Moose is the number 3 world champion in the world right now. Okay. Moving forward to the main event of the evening, Texas Deathmatch, Impact Knockouts Championship. Mickie James, who will be in the Royal Rumble coming up very soon. Deonna Purrazzo. This feud has been going for a long time as well, dude. You know, we remember even back to NWA 73 when Deonna attacked Mickie after her match with Kira Hogan. Oh, I know. I don't know who it was with. But yeah, no, she defended the title there against somebody. I can't remember who. But anyway, we saw that then. They've continued it on for months and months and months. And now we finally get to what appears to be the conclusion here. I have a feeling going to this, Deonna was supposed to win, but because of the Rumble coming up, I assume they want Mickie to be able to walk out, hopefully, with that championship. I'm hoping that's what happens. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Bro, please take it away. What did you think of the main event of the evening?
Dude, like Mickie James got my Women's Wrestler of the Year last year. And that was after seeing only about 4 or 5 of her matches, you know. She's just having the run of her career. She's a consummate professional. She's a beautiful, eloquent, like intelligent and seemingly very, very kind-hearted person. That's the vibe that you get from Mickie James. I don't know her personally, obviously, but I think that the fact that she gives off that vibe that she would be a really nice and and is a highly dedicated, highly professional talent in the way she carries herself, that comes across in her matches, as well as the good old country gal aspect of her personality. You know, she's tough as nails. She likes a good fight. And this angle here with Deonna Purrazzo, who I'm also fast becoming a huge fan of, was a good old fight. This was everything that I wanted the blow-off match between these two to be. I thought that it was, it exceeded my expectations. I thought that the thumbtack bump that Mickie James took was the highlight of the match for me. I think Deonna Purrazzo could literally teach lessons to the WWE female performers sometimes about being an effective heel. Deonna Purrazzo is not a heel in the same way that Becky Lynch is being a heel right now, where she's basically just a cool heel that everybody still likes cheering. And she's trying to be a female Stone Cold Steve Austin, even though she never has, never will, never possibly could reach the level of magnitude of someone like Stone Cold Steve Austin, and will never come across in the same light as a Stone Cold Steve Austin. Whereas Deonna Purrazzo could potentially become a female Stone Cold Steve Austin. And you know why? Because Deonna Purrazzo, when I watch her work in the ring and when I watch her perform these angles and storylines, I genuinely believe that she's a fucking bitch, a horrible person who doesn't give a shit about anything except making sure that Deonna Purrazzo comes out on top and makes the most money that she can make. She continued to convey that here, as well as a new tough side that we haven't really seen of her before. The blade jobs were excellent. I couldn't see through them. The physicality of this match was excellent. I like the fact that they didn't try to reinvent the wheel. You know, they kept it within the realm of things that they both knew that they were really good at. And unlike the Ultimate X women's match, which kind of tried to be a bit more experimental in the way that they plotted it out, this was much more of like, okay, we're going to keep it basic. We're going to keep it simple, but we're going to do those things extremely well. And it's going to translate into a really hotly contested title match. And that's exactly what happened. I'm going to give this match a B+. It wasn't my favorite Mickie James match that I've seen in the last 6 months, but it did exactly everything that it needed to do. And it left Deonna Purrazzo looking better going out of it than she did coming in, even though she lost the match.
Definitely, bro, definitely. And I hope there's no fans out there that are saying, oh, Deonna was screwed over here because Mickey's got... No, like this is a good opportunity for Impact Wrestling to get that women's champion in the Royal Rumble. And just to hear it on an Impact pay-per-view, the Royal Rumble being even mentioned was just, something you didn't think you'd ever hear. And before I talk about the match, I want to give props to Tom Phillips. I think he did a fantastic job with D'Lo there. I feel bad for Matt Striker. I think he was very good at his job, but I think maybe Tom is what they really do need.
Just more of a milk toast kind of just announcer,
Yeah, they just need that kind of guy who's got all that experience from WWE.
I actually personally felt like with the announcing, like D'Lo's personality and D'Lo's sense of humor really was like able to shine through a lot more with Tom Phillips as opposed to Matt Striker, who has a bigger personality than D'Lo. So it was almost like, even though Matt Striker was good as an announcer as well, it was like having two color commentators. But now with Tom Phillips and D'Lo in the announce booth, You've got the standard play-by-play and Tom Phillips, and you've got D'Lo doing color. I think that the contrast really worked well. And I think I'd like to see Tom Phillips back with Impact.
Yeah. And I will say this, the best 3 color commentators right now in wrestling is Taz, Wade Barrett, and D'Lo Brown. So anyway, to the match, this is what a feud ender is supposed to look like, feel like. These two, you could tell that this was a big match situation, and the way that they conveyed that through this match was very apparent. Very happy with the finish of the match. I thought, these two just fucking went all out to really give us something physical. And this is how the show was supposed to end, and it ended perfectly, man. Like, what a great fucking pay-per-view. I am just stunned that I actually loved something this much from start to finish, and was the whole time thinking to myself, I can't wait to see what happens next. I can't wait to see what happens next. So total props to Impact Wrestling for Hard to Kill. And this is going to be a show that's hard to fucking top as far as I'm concerned throughout 2022. We've come to the end of the review here, bro. Final thoughts, final rating, Impact Hard to Kill 2022.
There's no other rating to give it but a 9 out of 10. Which I know is the same rating as All Out, but I'm going to caveat this for anyone that wants to bitch at me and send me hate tweets. Both shows are 9 out of 10s, but they're 9 out of 10s for different reasons. All Out and Hard to Kill are 2 examples of shows that both achieved a 9 out of 10 rating, but they got there differently. Hard to Kill, 9 out of 10, incredible show. Early, unexpected, surprise candidate for pay-per-view of the year. Obviously, we have 90% of the year left to go still, so it'll probably be usurped by something. Nonetheless, Impact has already, in my opinion, stuck its head out further in the race than the other promotions coming into 2022, starting off with a bang. Fucking 9 out of 10, bitch. Check it out.
Definitely, bro. And that's what I was thinking the whole time I was watching the pay-per-view. This is a 9 out of 10. And just to let anyone out there know what out of 10 really means. A 10 out of 10 means complete rewatchability no matter how many times you've seen it. So that's WrestleMania 17. That's ECW One Night Stand. That's SummerSlam 2002. It's those types of pay-per-views.
Yeah.
I wouldn't sit here and watch that pay-per-view again, Hard to Kill. And that's not a knock. It's just, it's very rare that you have a pay-per-view that has complete rewatchability in it. So 9 out of 10. This is going to be hard to top. I'm telling you right now. They have set the bar, and I just wish that Mark Cuban, because I know Mark Cuban has like a stake in Anthem. Yeah. I wish he would just throw fucking at a couple of $1 billion at this thing and get it into a bigger arena and get the name out there of the company a bit more, because AEW isn't doing it for me. WWE is okay sometimes, but Impact just continues to impress me more and more, bro.
The way that I classify it would be like this, man. It's like WWE, AEW, the Indies, NWA, they're all doing things that I like within their show, but also things that I don't like. Over an Impact, there's nothing at the moment that I, as a fan, am not interested in, because they've actually invested the time and effort into not treating their fucking audience like goldfish and acting as though they just won't remember what happened 7 days ago on the previous week, or as if they won't remember what happened on the previous pay-per-view. There was none of that. This was a show that rewarded long-time viewing and people being invested. And you know what? When a wrestling show rewards fans for their investment and long-time commitment to watching a product, guess what? They, in turn, reward that product with their loyalty for the future. Because they know
got our loyalty now.
Yeah, they know that, we know now at the moment that our loyalty to Impact will be rewarded if we keep watching Impact pay-per-views. The same cannot be said for either of the other 2 major promotions, WWE or AEW.
That's it, bro. We have come to the end of the review here, bro. Tell everyone out there where they can find you.
Yeah, fuck. You can find me on Twitter at Jooseyboy. You can find me on Twitch at Jooseyboy. You can subscribe to me on YouTube at Jooseyboy. And I'm on all, if you're fucking, of course, Google Jooseyboy. You'll find me on a few other platforms. You can catch me here on the network, obviously. And just in case anyone doesn't know what word they're going to be typing into their Google machine to find me and send me your fucking mean tweets, that word is spelled JOOSEYBOY. And I'll see you on social media, folks.
That's it, bro. And you can find me on Twitter at Karlifornia WZWA. That's the only place you can find me. KARLIFORNIA WZWA. Again, the WZWA Network. Everywhere, anywhere, every fucking platform you can think of, you can find us. And once again, RIZON, the Ryzen Network on IRC chat from back in the day. Please go into that fucking website, ryzen.net, and find the chat room, #wrestling, a great group of people to talk to about wrestling, motherfucker.
Oh,
So,
and of
Juicy
course,
Boy? Yes,
and
bro.
of course, man, before we go, we can't forget, check out Thunder Mifflin on Pro Wrestling Tees. Our merchandise brand. We got fucking t-shirts, fucking all kinds of cool fucking shit on there. So if you like what you're seeing from the WZWA Network, you can fucking show that off and support us by purchasing something from Thunder Mifflin, our merch shop. And this is merchandise that you can actually wear out in your everyday life. It's not a lame wrestling shirt that, I'm wearing a fucking t-shirt with a giant picture of a half-naked Hulk Hogan on it. It's not a wrestling shirt where it's a fucking WWE stand shirt that has one of their WWE-made logos for one of their characters on it. These are original, original jokes, original images, original content that we personally came up with and helped make. And you can purchase that merchandise right now from Thunder Mifflin. And if you do, you won't look like a fuckwit, unlike if you buy merchandise from most wrestling stores.
Yeah, you'd rather our shit than that fucking t-shirt of Christian Cage sitting in a seat with a topless Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy standing behind him with their hand on his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who's going to buy that shirt or who bought that shirt, but if you did, shame on you. Anyway, thank you, everyone out there. I'm Karlifornia. This is Juicy Boy. This was our review of Impact's Hard to Kill 2022. And we will see you down the fucking road.
See you, cunts.